Everybody, welcome to episode 6 of season 2 of the Norwalk Film Festival podcast, where we talk to filmmakers who have their films in this year's festival. Today, we have with us Blake Winston Rice, the writer and director of T. Blake, thanks so much for joining.
What's going on, Sean? Thanks for having me on. Psyched to be here and first time at Norwalk. So we're thrilled to be screening there. And I also believe it's our first time in Connecticut.
Hey, too. Connecticut premiere. There you go.
It is a CT premiere. And we're in, we're down, we're psyched.
Yeah, no, it's great. We're so excited to have you. Your film has screened at a lot of amazing places already so far. So to have it as part of our festival is really awesome. It's an amazing lineup and just one of the many that are part of it. Yeah. So before we talk about T, why don't you tell us a little bit about your past and how you got into filmmaking? Because I know you started maybe more in front of the camera versus writing and directing. So how'd you end up here?
Yeah, so I'm from New Jersey and I studied film at Rowan University. And back in the day, I won't age myself, but back in the day, I was acting and writing and directing a sketch comedy show.
Okay, and
the kind of like digital shorts, like Chappelle Show, Key and Peele style, and some of the stuff went like mini viral for the time. And I was able to get my first kind of commercial acting agent up in New York. Right after school, but I was always spending all my money once a year, all my like waiting tables, bartending cash once a year on a short film that I direct. And, I was staying in front of the camera a little bit, but always the main goal was always writing and directing. And through the years, kind of got a little less crappy each short and plowing away. And I lived in New York for about 7 or 8 years and then moved out to LA it's close to a year ago now, which is insane.
Oh, right.
And thanks to the success of T, it's kind of, put my career in a different spot now, which I'm super grateful for, and super grateful for the opportunities you get in festivals much like this, to kind of showcase your work and make that final shift from, doing this thing and climbing that battle to kind of get in the room to the next level, which is, fighting in the room for your next script. So in that phase right now, which is exciting and daunting and, but also exhilarating and what I'm here for.
Yeah, I mean, it's we're so happy to showcase a lot of independent work, or mostly independent work. So it's great to. It's hard to find an audience sometimes, so it's good. We're happy to get things in front of people to be able to do that. So when you've between your old films, you started sketching, now you're doing more like narrative. How did you find like the leveling up process again from between each film, even not just from sketch to the more narrative, but I guess what was it like?
Just like,
or what do you think you learned from each film? I guess.
Oh, a bunch. You learn more than like it's like you just have to fail in the best way possible, and I think I'm just down to fail. And the people I want to work with are down to fail. Like, let's risk, let's suck, let's find out. Like, because those are the real values. And if you're studying film, you're probably not a great math brain test taker, like you learn differently. And I learned on set. I couldn't sit in a classroom that well and be like, okay, this is the rule of thirds. Like I had to see that. And so it always just like, I always took away from each short film, a lot of the craft, but also in like the actual, like, kind of the math of filmmaking, but I think the larger scale storytelling sense, and you need audiences for that. And that's why, again, like to bring it back to film festivals, like I call it the back of the room test, theater test. Like you got to get this stuff out in front of people to really learn what doesn't work. And then you try to look at that before you make your next one and be like, well, I whiffed on this theme. That was too big. Let's shrink it down and get better at like what's really important here. And it took a lot of shorts to do that. And also, by the way, I'm still working on that. In no sense have I mastered anything.
I mean, I'm sure even if you ask Marty Scorsese, he's thinking he hasn't perfected it yet.
Right.
You're not a good artist if you think you perfected it.
That chase is fun too, trying to get better every time. Like I come from a sports background too, and being able to like the competitive nature that may or may not be in the business, but I see it as that. I love that sensibility, and I love being like, man, we missed on this one. And I'm watching these other films. They're so motivating. Like, I got to get back out there. Like enough of this other stuff. I got to get back. Let's get back on set and test and risk and try to fail again in the best way.
It really is like when you're in a room watching a bunch of other stuff, especially in these like short festivals, like I always leave like so motivated where I'm like, let's do something more. I need to do something again. Like, look what that person did. It's really awesome.
I call it the belly fire. It's like, like they made that, they got the audience there. Like I should have thought of that. Like, that's a great little turn on this. Oh, sick. I would have never saw that coverage that way. Oh, I got to be better too. So are you a filmmaker as well?
Yeah, I have a short that is also in this year's festival. Luckily, it went through the regular process of screening and getting into our review board. So I didn't pull any strings.
Did you use a pen name?
No, I did not. It has our producer's name on the submission though. So
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. What's it about?
It is about two old friends who meet up in a post-apocalyptic world or have a chance encounter in a post-apocalyptic world, and they have to decide if they continue to stay together, if they continue on their own ways or own paths.
Oh, I like that. Is it sci-fi or is it just kind of drama?
It's just drama. It's just like in this world that it's very, very small set pieces and pretty lo-fi, but it's more so that they're in this post-pandemic world, like living in it and having to, and it's just like their interaction and like the next day. So it's a pretty quick glimpse into their life.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit how you came and came up with the idea and wrote T.
So T, I mean, it's funny. I originally got the idea from this super talented actor that I just saw online, just posted like an audition monologue of his. And it was a scene about asking out, like the girl of his dreams, kind of floundering through it. And I always thought it was just, there was a good sense of kind of bravery in that. And then I like the idea of someone rehearsing that and like someone who's so socially inadept that they need to rehearse kind of the basic thing. And that was like the initial grain to it. Something that I wanted to put in, like I think loneliness is so universal, and the quarterback at high school is probably lonely and feels like he relates to no one actually when he's by himself. And, the classic nerd is probably super lonely in the obvious ways. And I think there's a connective thread through everyone that is a super universal theme. So I was really pumped to explore that. And being from New Jersey and knowing what, that 90s pressure of finding someone or not going to college and working these dead end post-summer jobs in the back of a strip mall. I just knew that space and knew that world. And as filmmakers, I'm sure you know this too. It's like, I've tried to do the big and bad stuff. And right now I'm trying to do what I know I can get right. And so I kind of shrunk down my world. I put it in the back of a strip mall. I talked about loneliness, pumped in a bunch of comedy in there. And that's kind of the whole inspiration for it and kind of what we were going after.
It's great. I mean, just for our listeners, the story is basically there's our character, Nick, who's rehearsing, asking out this girl, and he's a Circuit Shack employee, very cleverly, not Circuit City named employee.
Nor Radio Shack.
Nor Radio Shack.
Split it down the middle.
Oh, gosh, I didn't think that. And while he's rehearsing, he gets stung by a bee. And is highly allergic. So it's, I guess that one of my questions was, tell us a little bit about the special effects makeup that your actor Michael was wearing. He had to go through for this.
100%. So we have an incredible special effects artist, SFX artist, Mackenzie Brooks, who worked on this. We've done a bunch of projects together, and so we did it old school. We did a bunch of tests beforehand. And then really got our look down, and he goes into anaphylactic shock. And instead of going any VFX or anything like that, we just wanted to look, we wanted to look like what it was going to look like. Yeah. And so we put Michael in all this stuff, and there's 3 phases of probably like 4 phases of the special effects there. And when we would flip the coverage, we go send him back to the chair,
Oh, wow.
It starts on his neck, grows up to his face, swells his eyes shut. And it really, like, Mackenzie was really able to pull it off and really saved our butts at the end of the day by being ahead of schedule, which helped us get that magic hour look. So a huge credit to her, and a credit to Michael too. It's not comfortable to sit in the chair forever. And it's also like, he couldn't see at the end. So we're like walking him to set. And he's just so giving and trusting and being like, okay, the short film director is going to let me like blind him and go put him in the middle of some strip mall. So yeah, and I think there's a good irony with that, with when you're socially inadept and you have the inability to talk to the person so much that you have to practice it. And then when you, let's literally strip away his ability to talk even more is a fun spot to throw that character into.
Well, I thought one thing these characters, the story and the characters did so well was, you have a character going into anaphylactic shock, but it's very funny and also very like emotional and moving at certain point. And it does a great job like riding those waves. So tell us a little bit about the, your experience writing that, and then also bringing it to the actors and making sure that they hit those waves right on the day.
I think, are you asking like kind of like how do we get that tone? Like how are we achieving that tone?
Yeah, I guess how were you, did you find that again?
I love comedy. It'll always be in everything I make, I think. Like, and I think there is just comedy in life, no matter what. People are going to crack up at a funeral and then get hit in the ribs, And for this, like all my scripts read very zany, but there is a lot of heart there. And I love being able to chase the different boxes to check off. Like, let's make it funny. Yeah. Okay. That may come a little bit naturally, but let's really find some peril in this. Let's pull on the heart chords too. Let's try to get some drama in it, and let's get some old school slapstick and really nail some physical beats of the comedy there and find the craft in that. And a huge credit to that is one, how it's shot. We really wanted it to feel 90s vintage romanticized, but also grounded. So Mateos Bastos, our DP, like we really nailed down this kind of handheld look for that era. And then honestly, Michael grounded the hell out of it. There's a tenderness to this character that the world beats him up and he kind of keeps fighting back. And I think that kind of levels this playing field and allows us to suspend our disbelief at certain points when the stuff gets really zany. It turns into a zany charades game.
I know that.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, the two moments, we'll spoil too much for our audience. We'll see it in a week, but the moment where, the charades and when she's chasing him through the parking lot, I was like laughing out loud. It's absolutely, it's so much fun.
It was very fun to do ADR during that. We're like, Michael, can you run away screaming from someone right now? He's like, So, yeah, that was a good time.
So tell us how you got Michael and Olivia on board and working with them to create these characters and to bring them to life.
So we had an awesome producer, Gabrielle Piazza, and we've worked on a bunch of projects together. And she acted in the Many Saints of Newark movie, the Sopranos movie that Warner Brothers did. Yep. And so she linked me originally with Michael just as friends. So we were hanging out, jamming on stuff, had similar tastes in movies and TV. And when I had this little script, we were talking, we're like, I think Michael would just be awesome for this. So just asked him straight up and he was like, I'm in, I'm down. And immediately came on board. Olivia, we put out casting calls for, reached out to agents, and we went way more the traditional route. She had some connections, some like funny small world connections to Michael. I think they took an acting class way back when they were younger together, but didn't know about each other, both going on the same project. So she came in, auditioned, killed it, then came in again, read with Michael, killed it, and the rest is history. And kind of a whole credit to the thing. It's a project about two characters, and both of them really pull it off. And Olivia Nickinen and Michael really owe a lot of the credit of this project to them. Oh yeah. I mean, their performance is really, just elevated to, because as we mentioned before, that they both pull off the comedy, but can then pull it back and really hit the dramatic moments too. It's awesome. And they trusted, and you're moving fast. You have like a day or so to shoot this thing, and they've worked on much bigger scale projects than me. And so for them to kind of, see the potential for it was super validating and honestly super, super trusting. And so, and they were also just a blast to work with. So lifelong friends, mega talented. If you're listening, cast them in your stuff. You can grab them before it's too late. Yeah. How long did you guys take to shoot? Was it just a day on location there? We had 2 days originally, but rain came in the next day. So around lunchtime, we were like, okay, do we shoot this magic hour kind of third act and just try to shoot out the day? So everything was mostly shot in one day, except for the pharmacy. Okay. That pharmacy we shot on the next day. And that's it. That's it. I wish I had more time. I would love,
Of
hopefully
course.
the next project I have more time. But no, fast and loose and, like did the short film hustle, but prepped the hell out of it. And so really was able to like capture the time, scouted a bunch of it, storyboard, shot listed, walked through everything, blocked everything. So on the day when we were ready to go, we're ready to not only get what we prepped for, but try to steal some magic too.
Yeah. So you mentioned him a few minutes ago, but Mateos, your DP.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about your experience in that preparation. Like what references were you guys looking at and working with to build the look for this? Because it's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
I love the look of it. So yeah, tell us a little bit, what references were you pulling from? You mentioned like 90s stuff, but anything specific?
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of it was location based. We knew just kind of like practically too, we weren't gonna have a bunch of units. So I wrote it for like what can with like our natural look, like what really can play. So a lot of it was scouting a location that we knew where the sun was all day because we shot a chronologic one to end with a magic hour look. Reference wise, like we pulled a lot of Clerks just because the jersey, it is like that convenience store strip mall thing. We pulled a lot of mid 90s was in there. I love the handheld, like Aronofsky for me, the handheld gritty vibe is just also what I love. And I love, Sirline's Playbook is another one because I think a lot of for the comedic beats, the ensemble factor, and a lot of those like cutaways and inserts of characters chipping away and throwing harpoons into the dialogue. A lot of that camera work was kind of vetted that way. But Mateus really knows, he really knows his stuff. And what's really cool with the director DP relationship is when you prep hard and you have that, you work on that connection beforehand. On the day when speed bumps come up, you're ready to kind of tackle it. Yeah. And especially when we were losing light, our SFX is early. We have the opportunity to kind of shoot the rent of this thing. Mateus is aware enough that he's like, hey, we're going to lose this light. We have like one take per shot here. And we also need to reblock 5 inches in a new direction every time. Wow. He understood that so well and was able to say like, and him and I had a good enough rhythm going that I'm like, you talk to the actors on this. I'll work performance, but like I'm going to get in the way trying to filter your direction on the blocking to the time. Right. Like, let's talk to the talent here. Michael's already blind anyway. So like he really was able to help save our ass at the end there and pull it off. So huge credit to him.
Yeah, that's amazing. So T has already had a very successful festival run. Tell us a little bit about that and being in con, which is awesome.
Just the craziest life-changing thing in my life.
No big deal, just this little thing that happened.
This is a little thing that I'm self-conscious about talking about too much. It was like you do the film festival hustle forever, and I've always been making shorts and submitting, and T kind of why I wanted to make it was like what would be refreshing in a film festival block, and you get these heavy, meaty topics all the time, and sometimes I just want a glass of cold water. Yeah. And that was kind of the inspo on a larger scale for why I wanted to put it together. And so, yeah. And I think what was cool with I think that kind of like helped us in the selection process as well. It's not really comedy. It's not really drama. It kind of fit in a lot of stuff. And so when we got into Cannes, it was kind of like an overnight change professionally for me. I went from basically, like a bunch of other people, you're trying to reach out to agents and you're trying to get your stuff read and all that. And the day after I got into Cannes, it kind of shifted all that for me. Wow. And professionally kind of mixed it up, got me in the room talking larger scale projects. And also just saw like, it was honestly my first reels in quotes, but larger scale and formatted premiere. And like a huge credit to that festival as well. They really cultivate a class of actors that you kind of, are really invested with. And it is such an honor to be with them. And it was just it felt like the next chapter of my career for me. And then it played a bunch of other festivals too after that. And I think Cannes was a big credit to that too.
Yeah. I mean, well, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
And I understand that kind of like, the it's hard to talk about successes sometimes. Like
it's like the pain I can go in on.
We got 3 hours. Let's go.
Yeah. Is there therapists for good things? Like, how does it, like, we're not used to that. When we got in, I didn't even, it came out online before the festival reached out. So I was like, I don't trust nobody. I was like, I'll believe it when I see it. So that was really crazy. And then we were lucky enough also after Cannes did a bunch of great festivals, and then Patty Jenkins came on board to executive produce too, which was another great honor and someone I look up to a bunch. And she's been so supportive and kind of helped me with this next phase of the career also. And I'd be like, Cannes probably helped with that one. So another thanks for that.
No big deal. Patty Jenkins, Cannes, you're all fine. So now
on the next, we're not satisfied.
No, of course not. I mean, never are. You got to keep making the next one. So you are in post-production on a short called Disc right now. And then I saw you're also you're working on a feature. So what's next for those?
Yes. And thanks for asking. So Disc is a really cool, crazy short. And man, I'm going to butcher this kind of like logline thing. Man, I'm so dialed in on logline
set yet.
All right. Disc is about a couple who wakes up after a one night stand at a work conference in Tucson, and the lead, played by Victoria Radermanis, is a keynote speaker at the conference, and she's trying to get out of this hotel room from kind of this like beta guy she hooked up with, and her diaphragm is stuck too high up her private parts. And so the two of them kind of have to diffuse this bomb together in the bathroom before she has to go and give this speech. And it's about connecting. It's about walls coming down, and it checks all those boxes of peril and drama and comedy and everything. And it's got Victoria and Jim Cummings is in it as well.
Oh, cool.
And really fun and excited. We got a great composer named Kevin Garrett who just came on board, and I'm psyched to share that one. And I got two more shorts that I produced that are in post that are larger scale shorts. And so those are on the way, called Prime, and another one called The Coretta Show. And then my feature, which seems like it'll be my next thing, is fingers crossed. We have some good news coming out this month about it. So
nice.
I can say it's called The Empty Lot. And that's all I can really give right now.
That's
but
fine.
I hope I get to bother you with more stuff.
Please do.
and that comes out soon.
How have you found at least so far, like the writing process going from a short to a feature? Do you enjoy having more space to play with, or is it harder? I mean, obviously I hope it's a little harder, but
I mean, it's definitely harder. I'm definitely I feel like I've just started to turn a corner on shorts and see what works in festivals and see what really plays in programs and how to push it. And so now I feel like I'm resetting my journey again. It's like, now I need to suck in features and I need to try to crack this nut. I'm thrilled to have time, expositionally, to have time with characters and to really nuance that. And that's going to be new. But I've always been writing features, writing them. This is probably my 6th or 7th that I've written.
Oh, gotcha. Cool.
But, and I'm really proud of this. And luckily I had this feature in a great spot before Cannes. So when I got the news at Cannes, all those meetings before, during, and after were kind of about my first feature project, and I had this one ready.
Nice.
Definitely had a nervous phase of, the industry is actually knocking on my door now. I hope they like tea. And after they like tea, I was like, man, now they're asking for a script. I'm like, I hope they like this one.
Here's this. Yeah.
Here's just my life's work.
Yeah.
And so luckily it's been getting some good feedback, and I think it's found a home. So that'll be the next phase, and a nice dramedy Poconos PA kind of love story for everyone. Will be hopefully the feature debut also to watch. Does the festival do you guys do just shorts, or is there features too?
We have last year we had a feature called The Featherweight, which is a story of a boxer named Willie Pep from Hartford. And so we had the Connecticut premiere of that as our Saturday night film. That was a narrative feature. And then this year we have 2 doc features. One that is executive produced by Matthew Modine. That's about an AI guy who puts a prompt into AI and gets the thing made. So Matthew Modine's coming for that to do like a Q&A and panel about it. And then we have another one called Ratified, which is about the fight to pass the Equal Rights Amendment and trying to get the state of Virginia to ratify it so it would become law.
Amazing.
So so a couple docs this year, and we had our narrative last year, which was cool, which had James Matteo is the main guy. And so that the whole cast and crew came out, so it was a lot of fun. It was great. So, but this year for both of our docs, we have the filmmakers and then some like local activists and other people in the respective industries that are coming to talk and do panels after the films, which is fun. But other than that, we have 57 shorts that we're showing over the whole weekend.
Like I've been lucky enough to kind of go and see a lot of festivals this year and see, how everyone else is doing it, or see like, the kind of the art of programming, and like as just a filmmaker going, it's really cool to get a sense of the area and the town and the personality of the area. And I think that's huge, and super cool and inspiring and fun. It's like, you're kind of on tour like a band for a little bit, like bouncing from spot to spot. And you're like, oh, wow, this is how people see film. This is what's important to people in this area. This is what's going on locally. And when you see the movies that aren't reflecting in that, you think like, oh, wow, the programmers think these things are so strong that they can fit into this mold with them, because it's like macro, micro scales of stuff. It's really cool and inspiring. I'm into it.
Yeah, no, it's great. And I mean, part of what I really like about it is that, we're close to New York, but most of our like Connecticut filmmakers are first time filmmakers, or, they have made like one or two projects and they're doing it in backyards and whatever, but like they're making really good stuff. And to be able to give them a spot to screen on like in a big theater and be able to do it, like being in the room, and then afterwards they're just like so excited. And it's just like that's great. And it's really exciting just to have people who are excited to show their work. And
thank you for doing it.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing it.
Yeah.
Are there any other Connecticut festivals that, like, do you have rivals? You can't say that. Who are the rival Connecticut? Who are the other Connecticut festivals?
Who are the Sharks and Jets of our?
Who do we take down? Who are we destroying?
We have a very good relationship with the Bridgeport Film Festival. They're the next city up 95 from us. So we have a very Jason Coombs is the director of that one, and he works with us and we work with him. So we have a very good working relationship with him and his festival. It also helps that we screen like 6-ish months apart, so we're not like fighting each other
for sure
for crowds. Having film festival turf wars.
Everything's going too well for you. I'm just trying to find something to let me get my nose in here and just cause a little dust fire for a second,
So you're like whisper like, Sean at the Norwalk Film Festival said the screening at Mystic was subpar. I hope you.
I heard that. Remember when you guys lost power? I heard there was Norwalk. I feel like there's some shady. All the theaters are working great at Norwalk this year. No issues.
I saw Sean with bolt cutters and he was just walking around.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really spice it up to get some rivalries in.
Yeah, we got it. Let's get some major headlines with some CT beefs going across the board. But thanks so much for having me, man. This has been a blast. I'm so thrilled and honored to be screening, and especially we're calling our Connecticut premiere too. So on behalf of the team with an N around the parentheses around the M, we're thrilled, honored, and psyched to be there, and flattered to be with the other. I know some of the other films in that block, and been kind of doing the rounds with them too. So flattered to be a part of it.
Cool. Well, wish you the best of luck on that, and hoping for the great news to come soon. For all of our listeners, where can they find you if you want to be found?
Yeah, if you want to find me, I'll just be wandering the streets of West Hollywood. Just honk before you run me over. No, you can find me. I'm on all social media platforms at Blake W. Rice. And then for T, you can check out at T the Movie, kind of across the board there, tthemovie.com. And we actually have some more film festivals coming up, so you can check us out, and then should be on a platform at some point. Yeah, we're very excited to have you and the whole team, parentheses, as part of our festival. Thanks so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure. Of course.